action.
So we're continuing on with Sarah Hamilton at Inside Out Physiotherapy. And we talked already in our earlier videos about this habit of people in poi often hiking their shoulders, like in windmill and doing stuff where the shoulders come up to the ears. Doesn't look very good and it's not necessarily healthy. So let's talk more about how to repattern that.
Okay, well, this is going to be something that will be good for those of you who tried our experiment earlier about bringing your arms overhead and found that when you're not really thinking or you know, when you're not paying attention, sometimes your shoulder came up around your ear. But you could consciously say shoulder down. So you had control over the movement, but it's not always there when you're not fully paying attention. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who, no matter how hard you tried to drop your shoulders down, you couldn't do it, this isn't going to be a series of exercises that will benefit you, because chances are you're not going to be able to do it properly and you're going to be reinforcing a pattern that's unhealthy. So for those of you who couldn't drop your shoulders down, you should seek the help of a kinesiologist or a physiotherapist or another movement specialist who can help guide you and strengthen the right muscles and help give you all of the feedback that you need in order to be able to achieve this skill. So to start off, for those of you who could drop your shoulders down, we're just going to re-explore what it is to feel like that your shoulders are sliding down. So we're going to bring your shoulders up around your ears and slide them down. And just do this a few times and actually focus on the dropping down and feel the muscles along the sides and the back of your body drawing your shoulder blades down. And after you've tried that a few times, then we're going to go back to some of the movements we tried before. So the first one, Nick, is I want you to bring your arm up overhead, just one arm. And Nick is doing a good job of keeping his shoulder away from his ear, so back down. And if this is a challenge for you, this is where you start. Be really, really careful not to progress yourself too early, because if you do that, you can be risking yourself for injury. So arm up, yep, and Nick was doing both sides, which is always appropriate to do both sides equally. Super. And so if this is totally easy for you, grab onto your poi. So Nick is going to grab his poi and hold onto it in one hand and do the exercise with the poi in one hand. Good. And drop down. Okay.
It started going up.
Yeah. Super. And back down. So the poi is going to add a little bit of resistance to the movement. And it's also going to be a good exercise in your ability to be able to control the poi moving up and down. Okay. Good. And this is where you're likely going to start to see your faulty habit. And the key is to stop if you can't correct it. So if you're doing the exercise and no matter what you're going back to your pattern and you can't overcome it, chances are you've fatigued. Okay. And so now if that's looking easy and no problem for you, why don't you try to do some spinning as you are raising your arm overhead. So the movement's getting more complex and the chances of your faulty habits coming up are way more likely. Okay? Okay, so Nick, try it in your other hand, and I want you to not think about it. Just spin fast overhead.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it. I'm
You'd
sure
be
it
up
would,
around there. Yeah.
It is a habit I'm still trying to work on.
Good. Okay, and if you find yourself in a hiked position and you can't drop it down, lower your arm a little bit. Okay, and keep dropping your shoulder down. There we go, and practice there, and then bring it down. So here we are, grooving the good pattern over and over again. Now, if this is starting to get easy, we need to explore all movements. So other movements you can explore in the same way. First with no poi, always with no poi. So we're going to put that off to the side. Our arms out to the side. So one arm at a time. Did we do this already?
You're good.
Good. And then other arm. Super. Okay, you can try with both arms. Good. And if that's easy, now we're going to try doing your arms at a sync. So one arm up, one arm down. Good. And try the same movement with one arm up, one arm down in front of your body. Good. Try that one with your poi, Nick. So no spinning, just holding with a little bit of weight. And just one arm up. Ah, there's your hike. Drop it down. Good. And same with the opposite. Drop, drop, drop. Good. Super. And so if this is also feeling easy for you, we can increase in the complexity of the movement. Okay, and with the poi down, we're going to try body turns. So you're going to open up an arm and open up your body. Open up an arm and try it without your poi first. Good. Open up an arm and then your body. Yeah. And what Nick is doing a great job is he's moving from his whole body. So he's twisting from the ground all the way up in both directions. And now try to do with both arms and opposite directions. Good.
Poi fu.
Poi fu. Exactly. Now try to turn with it. So move your body, you want to move your feet. Exactly. So as the movement becomes more and more complex, the chance of it breaking down is much greater. So you got to keep trying and use your mirror, use your friends, use your awareness of your body to know when you're cheating in your pattern. So Nick, are there any other movements that you see in poi practice where people's shoulders are always up in their ears? That's a common one.
Yeah, I mean anything that's where the arms go up. I mean, typically it's something like the windmill is typical, or especially opening the windmill. Often people do it. They go like this.
Okay. So what if we tried that without the poi? Can you do that movement?
Yeah,
without the poi?
that's poi fu. That's
I love it.
Protruvian arms.
Protruvian arms. So here we have a pretty complex movement. Your chance of shoulders coming up are high if it's a habit. And you need to slow it down. I love this because it's nice and slow, it's concentrated, it's less complicated than using your poi. And you can really focus on grooving those good patterns. And so what happens when you speed it up? What's a typical tempo? There we go.
And this is getting the poi speed.
Yeah. So start slow and increase your speed. Always do it without poi first. Add your poi later, and make sure that you're doing it in an honest and good movement patterning way.
So if we take this idea far enough, I mean, here I am, I'm doing what we call poi patterns. Poi spinners often are going to look, and they're going to be watching what the poi are doing. But what are you seeing?
What I'm seeing is how your body moves. And it took me a long time watching poi spinners to actually see the poi moving because I'm looking so much at your body. Right? So this is the same pattern Nick is doing here. Keep going. That we were working on before. But now he's spinning his poi. So as you do this, Nick, now that you have the poi in your hands, your chances of doing your cheats, your hiking of your shoulder is much greater. One, because you're probably focusing a lot on the poi, and two, because it's a more complex movement that you're doing. So I want you to go through your movement, find a spot where you feel your shoulders hiking right there.
Yeah.
Okay, now so you have your spot where your shoulders are hiking. I want you to think shoulders down, like the game we played in the beginning, shoulders down, and reinforce that. Now you're strengthening that spot right there, and keep going, and if you feel yourself hike again, stop, and drop your shoulders down. Now if you absolutely can't drop them down, then what you need to do is lower your arms and practice there. Yeah.
Or maybe come back just to this again.
Yeah, exactly. Poi in hand, moving your arms around.
Right.
Yeah, and then come back to your spinning practice. Yeah.
So take that with you, and remember, feedback helps, a mirror helps, and your friends are going to help more than any of that, because if you can help each other, coach each other, that's where you're going to really overcome some habits. Yeah.
Good luck.